Welcome to another episode of I'm Dying to Tell You. This is Dr. Mark Goulston giving you advice as the universe tells me to give it to you before the end of my life, which is uh, going to last a little longer than I thought. So I'm pleased with that. I'll keep you posted. I want to talk to you about uh, the best advice I ever heard before I hired, partnered, or married someone. Uh, I didn't receive it back then, but it would have helped, and it's going to help you. One of the most important questions to ask people before you hire, partner, or marry them is you want to find out how they have dealt with disappointment in the past. Disappointment is inevitable. We never think of disappointment when we begin a relationship like that, but it's inevitable. And you want to identify people who are able to handle disappointment, able to communicate through it, able to not get angry. And so something that's really important is to ask people, before we proceed, I just want to ask you something. Tell me about disappointments in your last relationship, in your last job. So you're leaving it open to see what they say. And if the disappointment is always about the other person, that's one red flag or one strike. And you might say, well, I understand that. How did you contribute to what disappointed you? If they have no idea how they contributed to it, that's a second strike. The third strike is to say, if we proceed, if we become partners, and if we get engaged, if I hire you, we're going to get disappointed. You're going to get disappointed. I'm going to get disappointed. In the event that that happens, how do you suggest we handle it so that it doesn't escalate into an argument? What is it that you would like me to do? And what is it that you would like me to not do? And hear what they have to say. And then tell them what you would like them to do and you would like them to not do. And any indications that you're dealing with someone who doesn't disappoint easily, that's a big, big red light. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because if you tend to be the reasonable one with someone who, when they get disappointed, they escalate, you may not want to escalate. You may be the one calming them down. And you might want to think of yourself as, well, I know they've had a hard life. I know they've had a hard time. I try to be understanding. Don't kid yourself. If they're the one who always escalates a disappointment or a conflict, and you're the one who's always trying to be the conciliator, you're gunny sacking resentment. And you may not know it, but those resentments are going to eat away at you. I'm reminded of this television show, which none of you will remember, but I'm old enough to remember. It was a sitcom called Mad About You with Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. And all through the series, Helen Hunt was complaining, and he was reassuring her. And she was bringing up things, and she was bringing up ultimatums, and he was reassuring her. Then they had a final episode. And in that episode, it was many years later, and they'd gotten a divorce. And Helen Hunt says to her friends, can you believe it? In the end, he divorced me. And what Paul Reiser said was, essentially, I spent so much time trying to not disappoint her. What I realized is I was disappointed in her. And it had built up and it was no longer acceptable. And so I was the one who asked for divorce. So please keep these ideas in mind before you hire a partner or marry someone. And happy relationships. And thanks for tuning in to this series. Take care.